Hello to everyone. Thanks for joining us today. This is the fifth webinar of our monthly Mindfulness and Menopause webinar series, and we will have more to come each month this year. Skylar Griessel is here as our mindfulness mentor to talk about using yoga nidra as a way to slow the mind and relax the body for a good night's sleep. My name's Kim Fancher, and I will be your host today. And I am so excited to have Skylar with us again and to get us started on this important topic of how mindfulness can help with our sleep, especially during our menopause journey. Hi, Skylar. How are you doing today?
Hey Kim, I'm doing well. Thank you again for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well. So excited to learn more about yoga nidra and actually do a little practice with you.
Yes, yeah, I'm excited to be here. So if we're ready, I'll just get right to it.
Let's get going.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Kim. And thank you again for letting me present for Positive Health. I just think this is a wonderful, wonderful program you have put together, and I am so honored to be your mindfulness mentor. So I am not a medical doctor. I'm a savvy lady, but I am not a clinical professional. So please note that all of the opinions and information expressed, although they're from credible sources, they are not medical advice, and you should always, always check with your doctor before adding anything new to your medication, exercise, or diet routine. Now, about this series in general, Kim mentioned that this is a monthly presentation. So every month near the end of the month, I do a mindfulness and menopause presentation. We've broken it down into a couple different topics. And today, the star of the show is sleep, something that is fleeting for a lot of us, regardless of age, but it becomes incredibly different during menopause. I think it's safe to say, although I haven't been lucky enough to get there myself yet. Now, you can expect some hands-on practice. Today is going to be a little bit different, especially if you've been to some of our other presentations. Usually I am the one leading you through. Today, we're going to use one of my favorite resources. So if you want a piece of pen and paper to kind of grab that and write some of these resources down, you can take them with you at the end of class. But we will go through kind of symptom overview. We'll go through a little bit of the science behind the meditation and mindfulness practice portion of it, and then we'll actually get into our real hands-on practice. So in this whole series content, we've talked a lot about hot flashes, everybody's favorite symptom of menopause, right? Today, we're talking about sleep problems. And as I said, sleep is the star of the show. Last month, we talked a lot about brain fog, and this is something that comes up for a lot of people, again, regardless of age, but because of changes in hormones, brain fog is a constant and consistent problem we see with menopause. And there are some things that exacerbate that, but I'm going to spend just a little bit of time on brain fog and just give you a couple mindfulness things that you can do to help combat that. And remember not to beat yourself up if we're feeling a little foggy. And then the majority of this is going to be our sleep and our yoga nidra portion of this. And don't let the word yoga fool you. We're not doing any kind of wild and crazy pretzel moves today. This is very much more mindfulness and meditation. Later on this year, I'm really excited to talk about emotional health. We'll practice 4-7-8 breathing, a very common tool for folks who have anxiety or panic attacks or depression. We'll go through an affirmation and reflection practice, some of my favorite things. And then the last topic I will go into is low libido and how to combat those things using mindfulness through a body scan practice and then body positivity affirmations. So please feel free to continue to join me. I really enjoy doing these things. Now, I mentioned part one is going to be all about brain fog. So let's go ahead and just settle in to our space, right? Anytime we are feeling a little out of focus or like we've been multitasking way too much, because that's what society demands of us, it's time to just take a step back. And anytime I do these presentations, I do kind of try and settle in. So if you're in a chair, you might lean all the way back in your chair. You might just set your feet flat on the floor to promote that good blood circulation. Maybe roll the shoulders down away from your ears. Maybe rock the head side to side and take a few deep breaths. 3 is always the magic number. You can inhale nice and deep. Exhale out slow and controlled. Take 2 more just like that. Inhale. Exhale. And maybe these are the first deep breaths that you have taken all day. So relish them. See if you kind of notice any kind of relaxation or release of tension that happens in the body. Notice that physical response. We know that the physical and the mental side of our health are very, very closely linked. So in terms of brain fog, if the mind is cluttered, sometimes we can tap into the body. If my mind is cluttered and my brain is foggy, where are my shoulders? Maybe it's time to take a deep breath and start here, relax the physical body so we can clear the mind. Let's get a little more into that. Hopefully you're feeling nice and settled. Remember, there's nowhere you need to go right now, nothing you need to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about brain fog as it relates to menopause. Please know that this is normal, right? And we're so good at beating ourselves up when we forget somebody's name or write down an appointment or forget what we went into the grocery store for and we remember it as soon as we got home. Be nice to yourself. Regardless of age, everybody has walked into the living room and said, well, what the heck did I come in here for? That's normal. Now, menopause makes things a little more difficult because the changes in hormones do affect your cognitive health. They affect your, not your reasoning, but problem solving and specifically the hippocampus. So when we talk about memory and retaining information and remembering things like dates and times and names and what's on our grocery list, these things are just affected by changes in hormones. If any of you have been lucky enough to have been pregnant or have a child, have you ever heard of pregnancy brain? This is very, very similar. So be kind to yourself. That is the theme that we are going to be consistent with around brain fog. We know that estrogen promotes activity in the area of the brain associated with memory, that hippocampus. And because estrogen lowers during our time of menopause, this affects our cognitive abilities. Consistent meditation practice can help declutter the mind and organize the thoughts. Now, you've heard this from me over and over again. Consistency is key. It is just like any other healthy habit, right? If we're eating right, if we're trying to get more sleep, drink more water, if we're trying to declutter the mind and meditate, we want to be consistent. So the more often you do this, the more frequent, and bonus points if you can do it at the same time every single day, the more results you're going to see. I am not a doctor, but science has shown us, again, from credible resources like the Cleveland Clinic, the National Institute of Health, the Mayo Clinic, consistent meditation practice over time has been shown to reduce anxiety, reduce stress, lower the symptoms of depression. Meditation has been shown over time to improve overall mood, self-esteem, life satisfaction, and of course, promote clarity and increase focus. The more consistently we can practice decluttering the mind and being consistent and present in this moment, not thinking about our to-do list or all the things that happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow, but be present in this moment, helps us alleviate some of that brain fog. So don't beat yourself up. If I were a doctor, I would prescribe you 10 minutes of meditation practice every day. 10 minutes. 5 minutes if 10 is not available, or maybe you do 5 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon. This can look like whatever you need it to look like. Traditional meditation might be seated quietly, spine is erect but not stiff, resting gently. Sometimes that's not always available to us. I would hate for your only place to do meditation to be in the bathroom, but sometimes that is our only option, or in your car before you get into the office or go into the grocery store. Find a place that works for you and really dedicate 10 minutes to it. Not on your phone, not washing the dishes while you do it. Really sit in maybe not silence, but in serenity, in some kind of quiet, peaceful state, and practice 10 minutes a day. Just slow breathing, controlled meditation practice. Not beating yourself up if any of those thoughts enter the mind. Please always remember that that is absolutely normal. There is no such thing as a bad meditation, only the one you don't do. Now, these definitely are not Cleveland Clinic approved mindfulness practices, but I do think there is a lot of mindfulness involved in the way we wake up. So many of us, especially if we are householders or mothers or caregivers or wives or anybody, folks with to-do lists and things to do, we start our day, we wake up and we get going right away. It already starts with a to-do list, even if it's just health and hygiene, right? I got to shower, I got to brush my teeth, I got to make sure coffee's going, I got to make sure everybody's up and ready to go. Try to give yourself at least 30 minutes in the morning just to properly wake up, just to awaken and be human. This can really set the tone for the rest of your day. Because if you start your day, 5 minutes after opening your eyes with that go, go, go kind of attitude, of course, things are going to get a little jumbled up in the brain. It's going to get a little foggy. So try and give yourself that 30 minutes, maybe only 10 minutes if 30 isn't available, to sit quietly and just enjoy the waking up. My second tip is continuously use positive self-talk. We talked about this a little bit last month when we discussed brain fog. So often when we feel a little foggy, we can get really down on ourselves, right? Oh, that was so stupid of me. Oh, I can't believe I forgot that. Try to do positive self-talk as much as possible. That was so human of me. Like, oh, I messed that up, but I'm still learning. Or, man, it's really better for me to focus on one task at a time. Positive self-talk is going to really sink in, and it's going to make this whole process easier. Even if we stay a little foggy, there's no reason to beat ourselves up about it. The last thing I'll suggest, which I do think is a mindfulness exercise, is create a to-do list. If we are mindfully going through all the things that we have to do, all of our wonderful, lucky responsibilities, we can kind of organize them by priority. Now, my suggestion is prioritize into A, B, and C. Priority A things are stuff that needs to get done right now, right now, right now. Like, all my clothes are dirty. I got to do the laundry right now. That's priority A. Priority B things are probably stuff that can wait until tomorrow or maybe in the next couple days. Like, there's food in the fridge. I don't need to go to the grocery store right now. Right now, I can wait a couple days. And then priority C are the I will get to it eventually. I need to repot that plant, but it's doing just fine. I will get to it on the weekend. So you can kind of organize things this way, or maybe find something that works better for you. And of course, in partnership with consistent meditation and mindfulness practice, will probably give you a little bang for your buck. So as we talk about our mindfulness, I'm ready to move into sleep, yoga nidra meditation. I'm keeping an eye on the chat box in case we have any comments coming through there, but get ready to shift gears from that brain fog and mindfulness practice over to how do we get better sleep using mindfulness? If you've never heard of yoga nidra, don't worry about it. It's a very specific kind of practice, but again, there's really no wrong way to do this either. It involves very, very little yoga postures. Typically, we think of yoga as the asanas, right? Savasana, Tadasana, all those big poses, the moving of the body. Yoga nidra actually involves very little to no movement at all. It is very much a restorative practice. This is extra, but a little information about yoga. It is so much more than just physical poses. It's about breath and how our energy works with our breath. It's about doing no harm to others and doing no harm to ourselves. So yoga practice holistically is very, very much rooted in meditation and mindfulness. And one of those practices is yoga nidra. So there's a little more to it than just laying down, but not much. So according to Yoga International, yoga nidra, or yogic sleep, which is a really nice kind of way to think about it, it's commonly known as yoga sleep, and it's immensely powerful. It can be an easy way for us to get into a yoga practice, especially for those of us who aren't really interested in yoga. We've tried it a couple times. It's not really my thing. This might be kind of a nice way to still get the mindfulness and meditation practice of yoga without turning ourselves into a pretzel. The idea is to leave yourself with a sense of wholeness. So this is more than laying down. We're still getting into the mind. We're getting into the breath work. We're using a little bit of visualization, a little bit of affirmations. Mostly we're doing a lot of body scanning, going through different parts of the body just to focus the mind on different parts and breathe into those spaces and really be present in the moment. Anyone can do this practice. There are no wrong answers. Falling asleep during a yoga nidra practice is completely normal and most welcomed. As a yoga teacher, I always joke that I'm very flattered when somebody falls asleep in my class because it means they've actually reached a state of relaxation. It's a nice thing. Yoga nidra has been shown to reduce stress and improve sleep length, and sleep quality over time and consistent practice. Consistency is key. Do not expect to do a yoga presentation on Monday and sleep better on Thursday. Doesn't quite work like that. We want to be consistent over a long period of time to see good results. So far, so good. I'm going to give you through a little bit of science on why this works. I know you've heard me talk a lot about mindfulness already. So slowing down the mind, accessing the vagus nerve, that parasympathetic nervous system, the opposite of fight or flight, are rest and digest. It's the same principles here. So the goal of yoga nidra is to enter into that deep state of conscious awareness, whether it's sleep or relaxation. Now, very experienced yogis might be conscious during this practice. If you fall asleep, please forgive yourself. And as I'm saying that now, if you need to move yourself to a place where it would be safer to fall asleep, you can do that. Once we get into our practice, I will even invite you to lay down. You might do this in bed. You might do this in a recliner. Find a nice, comfortable place to practice this. On this subject, I will tell you a story. The first yoga nidra class I ever took was in a very small yoga studio with only 6 students. So I was one of 6. And my teacher was going through this. And as I was finding myself in this very wonderful, deep state of relaxation, I started to fall asleep. Now, that's not a problem, but I made the sound that you make when you start to fall asleep. I grunted and kind of woke myself up in the class. So if that happens to you, please forgive yourself. It's totally normal and it's a good thing. Now, yoga nidra meditation also works because it helps us get into the theta state. When we start talking about sleep, we get into different brain waves. Now, during these waking hours, right, we're on, we're going, we're interacting with people, we're typically producing alpha and beta waves. As we sleep and the deeper into sleep we get, getting into that REM cycle, we pass through theta waves and get into delta waves. That's where we want to be. Delta waves happen in that deep REM state. That's where our brain is putting things in chronological order. It is organizing things in our mind. It is organizing things from logical to emotional reactions. It's reconstructing. Our cells are revitalizing. Our whole body is working when we sleep, and it does its best work when we get to that REM sleep, not just the brain, but the body as well. So once we get into those delta brain waves, we're usually getting in those during deep sleep. Yoga Nidra helps regulate parasympathetic and sympathetic. So if you're like me and you're someone who is continuously anxious or stressed just based on life itself, to-do list, job responsibilities, family, financial, normal life things, this is a really good way to kind of alleviate some of that stress. I will tell you, the Cleveland Clinic did this wonderful study where they took folks and had them do traditional yoga practice, traditional meditation practice, and then yoga nidra practice. What they found was that that study showed that yoga nidra can be a useful tool in reducing both cognitive and physiological symptoms of anxiety. So perhaps even more than traditional yoga or meditation, even though the postures are good and sitting in silent meditation is good, this yoga nidra of really mindfully being present in the body and in this moment has been shown to actively reduce cognitive and physiological anxiety. Let's roll into it. I'm going to give you a couple extra things, and then we're going through the steps of yoga nidra, and then we'll get into our practice. Forgive yourself of whatever this needs to look like. And if you're looking at the screen, you'll see this wonderful image of kind of a restorative yoga class or a yoga nidra class. Sometimes if you ever take a class on this, there might be blankets and pillows. If that works for you, you can absolutely do that in your own practice. Maybe you're lucky enough you can do this all cozied up in bed, or maybe you want to lay down on the sofa, get yourself a nice pillow. That is not only approved, but very much encouraged in a yoga nidra class. So that's one big difference between this and traditional yoga. So when the mind wanders, yoga nidra kind of invites you to focus on one thing at a time. During our practice, you're going to hear the senses. What are you hearing? What are you smelling? Really invite your mind to open itself up to that and really focus on that one thing. You're going to hear different body parts, right? Your left cheekbone, your tongue, your right shoulder, and really guide your mind into those places in the body. If I'm thinking of my right shoulder, I'm not thinking about my left knee. And forgive yourself if that doesn't happen right away and the mind wanders. Remember that that's normal. A couple other things. So we're setting an intention, we're doing a body scan. I encourage you to pick one thing at a time to focus on, and the person leading your meditation today is going to help you guide through this. Yoga Nidra will guide you through direct cues to continuously guide the mind to the present moment. So again, if that mind wanders, if you start to pick up that mental to-do list again, you can just put it right back on the shelf and guide your awareness back to the breath or a different body part, or maybe that intention that you set at the beginning. Some people prefer to do this lying down, blanket, pillow, maybe a bolster. That's the thing you see under everybody's knees here in the picture. I will tell you that yoga nidra practice is typically longer than 10 minutes, typically longer than 15, typically longer than 20 minutes. Yoga nidra goes through very specific steps to get you to that deep state of relaxation. So out of all the practices that I am going to share with you over the course of this series, this is the one that takes the most time. We still want to be consistent with everything, but in its own little individual window, this takes the most time out of all of our practices. And we will spend a full 15 minutes on our practice today. So over the next few slides, you might want to jot these things down. I'm going to take you through the steps of Yoga Nidra. And as we listen to our practice, you're going to notice these steps. I will tell you, none of these are linear. You're going to kind of bounce back and forth between them as you go through your practice, and that's normal. That's a good thing. Your first step is very much similar to any type of other yoga or meditation practice, is to connect to your heart's deepest desire. Please relieve yourself from any kind of pressure associated with that. We just want to focus on some kind of goal. Maybe it's lifelong, maybe it's just this week, maybe it's your soul vow, something that is very particular to you. Maybe it's feeling joy. Maybe it's being more creative. Maybe it's, I am a compassionate person. It doesn't have to be something big and huge, like I'm going to be a famous actress next month, but just something that brings you joy, helps you feel a sense of accomplishment. You're going to hear this as we go through our practice. I'm going to keep rolling through the 10 steps. So connect to your heart's deepest desire. Step number 2 is setting an intention. Now, we usually do this in yoga or meditation as well. Think about the why you're practicing. It's a very easy why if it's just, I want to get better sleep. Any goal that we set in any kind of health class, the more specific you are, the more likely you are to achieve that goal. So I want to get better sleep is a fine goal. A better goal would be, I want to get better sleep so I can have more energy during the day so I can play with my grandkids. I want to get more sleep so that I feel rested when I wake up and I'm ready to take on the day. I want to get more sleep so that my friends and family are excited and happy about me being around because I feel so good, right? And I'm not grumpy because I don't get enough sleep, speaking from personal experience. So whatever the reason is, be specific and make it personal to you. You're not doing this for anybody else other than yourself. Find your inner resource. This can be a little challenging for folks, and mine changes quite often, whatever my inner resource is. It involves tapping into a safe place within the body so you can feel secure and at ease while you practice. This might be a place that we visualize, some kind of safe place. This might be a feeling or a memory where we once felt safe or once felt secure to be our authentic selves. Start to kind of imagine where or what that might be for you. Think back to a time where you felt truly authentic, and not necessarily putting yourself in that place or in that emotional state, but letting that safety and security exist in your body, letting it exist within you and kind of cultivate through this practice. You'll kind of see what I mean once we get deeper into this. Step number 4 is to scan the body. Now, we spend a lot of time here in Yoga Nidra. We spend a lot of time on the physical body because it's very easy to connect the mind to a physical or a tactile thing. During this body scan, you'll be asked to focus on certain parts or certain sensations throughout the body. The goal is to help reduce tension so you can relax. So when I say left cheekbone, you're going to feel that relax. When I say the jaw, you're going to feel that relax. When I say right shoulder, you're going to feel that relax. That's the idea. Again, forgive yourself if it doesn't happen automatically or immediately. We will continuously scan the body. If your mind wanders, feel free to jump back in. That's always the rule. Step number 5 is becoming aware of your breath. Now, we already did that a little bit today. Paying attention to how air is flowing in and out of the body. Take note of how it comes into your nostrils, how your abdomen rises and falls, and this can help you slow down the breath evenly. You've heard this from me multiple times during our meditation practice. If it's helpful, you might have tactile cues. I really like putting both hands on my belly. I like feeling my diaphragm kind of move with my breath. If that's not you, that's fine. Some folks like one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart, and they can kind of feel both hands move as they breathe. And if you're not up for tactile cues, you might just rest with arms gently at your sides or resting heavy in your lap, and that is also okay. As we breathe, and in meditation, I'll always say, guide your awareness back to the breath. A couple helpful things mentally to do if you have a hard time recognizing and being aware of your breath. Focus on the space right under your nostrils. And as you breathe in, notice the temperature of that air. It's nice and cool on the inhale. And then focus on that same space at the bottom of your nostrils as you breathe out. Usually nice and warm on the exhale. So temperature is a good thing to be aware of. The other thing I'll tell you is you could focus on a spot directly behind your belly button. And as you breathe in, noticing that space getting bigger as the belly button stretches away from the spine. And as you breathe out, noticing that space shrink as the belly button grows closer to the spine. A couple suggestions on being aware of the breath, but always, always practicing kindness just in case the mind wanders. Welcome your feelings. This may be the hardest one. Again, speaking from personal experience, if you've had a rough day, embrace it. You don't have to ignore the tough stuff. You don't have to do anything with that information either, but just recognizing it. You can also think about the opposite, whatever emotions you're feeling to balance things out. Sometimes really great, wonderful emotions come up during these kinds of practices, especially for folks who consistently feel stressed or anxiety. Sometimes this is the key to unlock the door to contentment. Maybe you notice some feelings of, hey, I'm actually doing all right. And that's good too. So welcome any feelings that come up. Remember, there's nothing you need to do with that information. Just notice, I'm feeling this. Just notice with curiosity and not with judgment. Step 7 is witnessing your thoughts. Again, curiosity, not judgment. Similar to step 6, you want to observe your thoughts in the moment without judging or trying to block them out. Usually, a lot of our suffering comes from clinging or resisting. So notice those things about yourself. Am I clinging? Am I resisting? Just become aware. Try not to cling to anything. And should any negative thoughts about yourself surface, think about the positive side of things to ease tension. This is not the kind of place to beat ourselves up. So again, just notice those things. And you might even say to yourself, I'm not thinking about that right now. Or that's not a helpful thought. Let's think about something else. Invite yourself for those opportunities. Step 8 is experience joy. We've only got a couple more. If you start to feel blissed out, that's actually normal. Embrace it and let it wrap around your body. A lot of folks during a yoga nidra practice will actually, they'll report tingling in the fingers, the toes. They might even notice a dropping of the shoulders. If that happens to you, let it be. Let that kind of radiate through your body and notice the emotional side of what's happening in your physical body as well. Step 9, observe yourself. Now we're getting deeper into our practice, right? We're producing those theta waves. We're getting into that delta kind of sleepy mind state where the body is relaxed, the brain is still active. Being aware of your personality, you beautiful individual person, how you might be feeling. In other words, your sense of I-ness. Then consider yourself as an observing witness. This will help you wake up more aware and in tune with your feelings. Some yoga nidra practices describe viewing yourself as you are watching a movie. So your third party, witnessing yourself through somebody else's eyes and finding all the good things about ourselves, similar to how we might view our best friend. You are invited to view yourself that way during this practice. Step 10 is the same as any of my other meditation or mindfulness practices. Reflect. Reflect on your practice. At the end of our practice today, you'll kind of hear the coming out of it. And again, if you fall asleep, please feel free. Please forgive yourself and just go ahead and do that. We need to find relaxation wherever we can. When you finish your yoga nidra practice, think about how you feel. Think about where you are in your mental headspace, where you are emotionally, where your shoulders are, where your muscles in your body are. Are they relaxed? Are they tense? Remember that there are no wrong answers. Think about how you can bring the peace or the joy that you may have cultivated during that practice. Think about how you can bring it into your daily life. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad times, maybe it gives you a sense of contentment, maybe it gives you a greater ability to be present in the moment. Don't try and rush out of your practice. This is supposed to leave you feeling a little sleepy, so that's okay. And take a few minutes to transition back into the waking state of life. Now, I'll be honest with you here too. Sometimes when I can't fall asleep, I will put on a yoga nidra meditation, and I rarely am ever awake to finish the practice and come out of it. I usually fall asleep and come out of it when I wake up the next morning. That is also okay. So during today's presentation, this may not actually be the most ideal way to practice this because we're awake. It's noon as we're recording this live. You may do a yoga nidra practice as you're laying down in bed and getting ready to go to sleep. Now, because of that, I'm going to give you a resource to use for your practice. I am using something called Insight Timer. There are lots of really great mindfulness and meditation apps out there. Insight Timer is free. It's one that I use. I really like it because it tracks my consistency. So it shows me how many consecutive days I'm practiced. So remember that meditation prescription, 10 minutes a day. This is a really good way to get that. And hold yourself accountable. There are other really great apps out there like Headspace, Calm. I'm sure I'm missing a couple other ones. But if you have any other suggestions, please feel free to put them in the chat box, share them with your friends, find something that works for you. It doesn't have to be this one. I'm using this resource today because as wonderful as Yoga Nidra is, and although I do this in my own yoga studio, in my own practice, I worry a little bit about me verbalizing this live to you over a computer screen. So we are going to use our wonderful Insight Timer resource. I also mentioned Yoga Nidra is typically 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour-long presentation. So 15 minutes was a short one that I could find today. Now, it is the longest of all the practices we've ever done together, so be very nice to yourself. As we're settling into this, I will invite you to kind of lean back in your chair. You might connect the back to your chair all the way since we're in like this state of relaxation. No need to take that traditional kind of stiff meditation, not stiff, but erect. If you are lucky enough to lay down, please feel free. You can lay in a sofa, lay in your bed if you're lucky enough to do that. I invite you to uncross arms, uncross legs, promote that nice, good blood circulation. You might take a deep breath right now and just prepare the mind and body for this relaxation practice. I'm going to hit play. We'll go ahead and begin. You're welcome to focus on this image or just lower your gaze or close your eyes. This will be 15 minutes. Here we go.
Lying down, closing your eyes, and moving tenderly and slowly from your outer world into your inner world, aware of your surroundings, the sounds appearing and disappearing, the temperature and touch of the air against your skin, the smell, feeling into the space around and beneath you, allowing your body to rest into the ground, bed, or whatever surface you are practicing upon. Like water of a river flowing and spreading itself into the trustworthy stability of the riverbed, inviting your body to melt and soften into the space around you. Sense and feel the whole shape and volume of the body lying here. Experience the weight and relax and allow gravity to have its way with the body. Your posture balanced, arms resting by your side or on your belly, feet flopping out to the sides, allowing the body of earth to support your body, making sure you are comfortable. And become aware of the breath. The breath is like a thread of connection into your inner world. So perhaps following the breath in through the nostrils, down the back of the throat and filling the lungs and the heart space. And resting here with a light touch at the heart center. Sense and feel the subtle expansion and contraction of the chest and rib cage, responding to the inflow and the outflow of the breath. Open and receptive. Listen for your heart's deepest wish for this practice of Yoga Nidra or for your life. allowing a whisper to rise. Listen to your heart and allow this intention to fill your heart center as though it's already happening. Planting a seed, a direction to follow. And repeating your intention to yourself now. Now we will rotate attention around the physical body, clearing any blockages. For as I name a body part, rather than visualizing it, sense and feel it as best as you can. Where we place our attention, energy will flow. So bring your attention to the space between your eyebrows, the third eye center. And sense and feel and imagine breathing in and out of this energetic center. And now moving awareness to the right eye and eye socket. Left eye and eye socket. The right nostril. Left nostril. Right cheek, left cheek, top lip, bottom lip, the cavity of the mouth, tongue, your jaw, chin, and the hollow of the throat, the right shoulder, right elbow, wrist, your right thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, and fourth finger, the palm of the right hand, the back of the hand, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, hollow of the throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, and fourth finger, palm of the left hand, back of the hand, left wrist, elbow, shoulder, hollow of the throat, heart center, solar plexus, navel center, right hip, right thigh, top of the knee, right ankle, right foot, the right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the fifth toe, the right ankle, knee, thigh, right hip, navel center, left hip, left thigh, top of the knee, left ankle, and left foot, the left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the fifth toe, left ankle, knee, thigh, left hip, navel center. Spreading your awareness all the way down to the bottom of your feet, feeling into both heels, calf muscles, back of the knee, back of the hamstrings, the glute muscles, your tailbone, the lower back, middle of the back, and upper back and shoulder blades, back of the neck, back of the skull, crown of the head. Expand your awareness to the whole body, breathing in and out through every cell. Aware of your whole body breathing as one global field of energy. Allow the boundaries of your physical body to fade away and begin to direct the breath into the right side of the body, as though the right side body could light up like a light. Breathing up and down the right side body. Feel all sensations as you breathe. And then letting go of the right side and now directing your breath into the left side body, lighting the left side body like a light shining and glowing from the inside out. Now breathing through the front of the body. And the back of the body. The top of the body. And the bottom of the body. Opening the whole energetic field of the body in all directions. Be here now in this moment, aware of how you're feeling right now. Gently invite your attention to feel the whole body heavy like a stone in water sinking. Both feet and legs sinking. Hips and pelvis heavy like a rock. The whole torso and arms feeling heavy. Neck and head feeling the pull of gravity. Your whole body sinking deeper and deeper into stillness. Allow the whole physical body to rest as you now invite the feeling of lightness, like a feather floating above the body looking down. Notice how still the body is, how soft the breath. Maybe how still the mind is. Simply be resting in awareness itself. And now shifting your attention to the heart once more, and take a moment to listen again to your deepest wish. Allow the core of who you are to hear your intention, planting your wish into your open heart. Resting here for a moment, repeating your intention to yourself. Now become aware of your body lying here, and slowly begin to wake up, bringing a little movement into your toes and your feet, your hands and your fingers. You might like to draw your knees up and place your feet on the ground, and perhaps rolling over to your side, enjoying this nurturing posture. Taking your time to wake up, gently and slowly opening your eyes.
So if you're with me through that practice, go ahead and come on back to our presentation. You can add any physical movements you need to. Maybe you rock the head side to side. We'll go through a tiny bit of reflection before we close out today. I'm curious, you're more than welcome to add in the chat, just how did that feel? How do you feel in the mind? How do you feel in the body? Are you a little sleepy? Did you feel yourself fall asleep? Did you make that sleepy time grunt like I did during my yoga nidra class? Notice that relaxation in the body. And as I mentioned, that 15 minutes is actually a really quick yoga nidra meditation or practice in the grand scheme of things. And maybe you even felt like it was a little fast when she said right eye, right socket, left eye, left socket, upper lip, lower lip. In more of a 20-minute, 30-minute, hour-long class, you may spend 30 seconds there, a minute there. So do that with a grain of salt. And like I said, if you do this right before bed, you may choose a longer meditation practice. What would you have done differently if we did this again? Maybe you did this practicing in a chair, and next time you're going to do it laying down. Maybe you did it without anything under your knees to even out the spine, and next time you're going to do it with a bolster. Now, we know that these are typically a little longer than 15, and we know that any thoughts that come up during any of our meditation practices are just quietly passing through the brain. We're not dwelling on any of those things, and that active practice takes a lot of time. So be kind to yourself. We've got several resources. Insight Timer was the one that I used for our meditation practice, but of course, all of these have a little more information about Yoga Nidra in general. If there's any questions, please feel free to let me know. I didn't see any pop into the chat, so I'm actually going to turn things right back over to you, Kim, so you can go through the rest of our announcements. Thank you so much for letting me guide you through this practice.
There. Well, that was amazing. And to start off, I loved your tips that you shared on combating brain fog, especially, when you mentioned in the morning and taking that time to wake up. I think that that's so important.
Me
A
too.
lot of us just jump out of bed and just get the day going. And I think it is important to take that time to reflect in the morning before you get going. And, I understand that consistency is important in feeling the real benefits of things like yoga nidra or probably any type of mindfulness practice. But, and you may have mentioned this, but how often is considered the minimum amount of consistency?
Oh gosh, good question. And thank you for bringing that up, because I never want to make anybody feel like they're doing a bad job. Like, oh gosh, I only meditated once this week. You don't lose any points for, any kind of inconsistent practice. Yoga Nidra myself, I probably use this maybe once or twice a month. I use it when I'm trying to fall asleep. So this particular one, I'm not super consistent about. My own yoga practice, maybe I do that 3 times a week, and I kind of notice that alleviates the anxiety and the stress for me. Everybody's different. Consistency is always nice, but that doesn't absolutely have to look like every day, every day. I think if you could do it every other day, that's fabulous. If you're doing it 3 times a week, that's still pretty dang good.
Well, and it feels really, really good just doing it, once in a while too.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
I was really into it there just for that 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Thanks, Kim.
So does this type of yoga, is it better for some issues than other types?
This is a great type of yoga, especially for folks with some physical issues. So if you've got knee problems, shoulder problems, if anybody's ever said, well, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible. This was a really good example of a practice that doesn't include any asanas. It doesn't include any physical postures. If you go into a studio, they may have you do some little shoulder rotations just to get the body nice and relaxed. But this is a great practice for folks with physical limitations. It's also a really nice practice for anxious people like me, because as I mentioned, it just helps you focus on one part of the body or one part of the practice at a time.
Great, great. Well, I love the focus on you as a person that you do throughout these sessions, and and there's many, many other things that I always take away from your presentation. So thank you so much,
Thank
Skylar, for
you.
doing this. And I guess we'll just jump right into what's coming up. We here at Positive Health are leveraging the power of webinars and podcasts to build awareness on many other important menopause related topics. So just want to mention here that some of our upcoming webinars we have, they can all be found at our positivehealth.com/webinar site. So in August 21st, we have an expert coming in to talk about herbal medicine. She's a clinical herbalist, Dr. Kay Sidemed, and so looking forward to having her join us in August. And then, of course, Skylar, you'll be back in August, the last Wednesday of the month, to talk about another mindfulness topic. And this one is focused on nurturing self-compassion. So please feel free to go out to the site and enroll in those. And then with our podcast series, all of our episodes can be found at positivehealth.com/podcast. And our next release on August 7th, we release the first Wednesday of every month. And this one is in regards to menopause. It's kind of connected here with our Yoga Nidra, but how yoga can really help with menopause. So listen in and hear what Fatima has to say about that. And also, our podcasts can be found on some of your favorite channels, the Amazon, Apple, and Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And then we'd like to invite everyone, if you're not already a member of Positive Health Program, to join in. You can visit our positivehealth.com site or go directly to the membership page and join in on this pilot program that offers a holistic, one-stop digital health experience supporting your mind, your body, your spirit during the menopause journey. And it is free right now until December 31st. So feel free to join in or send this information on to someone else that you think might benefit from it. And then finally, I'd like to mention we do support a menopause journey community. And, this is a place that anyone can go and, check out some new resources that people are sharing, or, listen in on what others have to share about their menopause journey. And you can join by sending an email to our info@positivehealth.com to get started. We'll get you going. So I believe, Skylar, that's a wrap for today. And want to, of course, thank you for all that you do in supporting this series and bringing this valuable type of information and practice to us every month.
Thank you, Kim. Thanks for letting me be here. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you next month.
Thank you. Bye-bye.